This week on the CISO Cipher segment, we're going to be talking about company security reviews. First question. What's one red flag that shows a company isn't taking their security review seriously? And what are 3 steps you believe they should take to mitigate this red flag?
One red flag is basically they just want to check a box, right? They don't care what the quality of the work is. They just want to check a box so they can pass their security, they can pass their insurance review, they can make their board happy, whatever. And that is where the evangelistic CISO has to come into play and say, look, this is critical, and we have to actually, even after selling the engagement, still resell them and why this is important. And usually that pushback comes from management. It doesn't come from your technical teams. So that's generally where that comes from. So you got to resell management on why this is important and why we need to go in this in depth, because you always get that question of, well, can't we just whip this out? And then the other one I've really had is based on the number of policies and changes that we need to make, what can you establish a baseline of what percentage we will have completed per week? It's like, no, that's not even possible.
Okay. So what steps would you recommend people take?
I would recommend that they take it seriously and expect, if they don't have a cybersecurity framework in place, that 18 to 24 months is actually the realistic number. Mm-hmm. It's not 12 months. It's not 6 months. It's not 3 months. I mean, we've gotten those questions. No. I mean, we just had a client that wanted to be SOC 2 compliant in the first year that we engaged them. We are in the 7th year of working with them and finally got them SOC 2 compliant because of issues on their environment that they had not fixed, that we identified in the first 3 or 4 weeks of the engagement. So you have to be realistic, and you can't set expectations that are not realistic. You really have to understand this is not a quick fix. It's almost like, learning Mandarin or, whatever. It takes time.
Can you pinpoint one thing SMBs usually overlook during their security reviews?
They forget that they want the secure perimeter, and they forget about the internal. And they also think, they don't look at the vulnerability of their users, the vulnerability of their network. They have a flat network, and then they think also that, oh, well, we're in the cloud for everything, and that's fine. In reality, the cloud is just somebody else's computer. You still have to secure it. I just dealt with someone the other day that's like, yeah, my daughter's e-commerce site's in the web is in the cloud and it's secure. And it's like, no, they just gave you a server and it is not secure. So
what is the difference between a good security review and a bare minimum?
Bare minimum is going to go back to that check the box thing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get, we need policies. We don't really care if they marry up to our processes. We just want to have policies. Yeah, as long as they look good, as long as they're complete. We're not actually doing any of it, but here we go. And our philosophy is you don't put anything in a policy you don't do. So that's one of them. So of a bare minimum. The other is we'll just take a vulnerability scan instead of a pen test. We don't want to look at these specific systems, just focus on the system, those kind of things. We don't want to deal with our users. Our users are fine. We have someone that comes in and talks to them once a year for 5 minutes about cybersecurity, and they all understand it. So those kind of things. Whereas a good security review is we're going to go and look at there, and the people that you're working with are going to be very receptive in there, and they're going to acknowledge that they have issues that they have to get fixed, and that's why you're there. And you're like, I need to do X, Y, and Z for you, and get that done. So that's the difference, is that it's the person receiving the guidance is really what makes or breaks a security review. Okay.
Why do reviews matter if you have tools?
Tools do not solve every problem. There's an over-reliance of tools in the world right now. And, like all the people, it's like, oh, AI will do all my security. No, it won't. You need to have that human married to a tool, in order to be successful, because human knowledge, tools are based on these perfect set of factors, X, Y, and Z, but they don't always take into account mitigating controls. They don't also take into account anomalies. They are looking for the most right answer. They are not looking for what is the true answer. So it's trust but verify. Yeah. It's, take the information and then take it one step further.
If you have one, what's your favorite quick win from a security review?
Basically, it's once you've done the assessment, you can identify the quick wins and the. So a lot of times it'll be like they're doing something that is sound from an IT security perspective, but it's just not documented. So that's a real easy quick one. Just sit there for an hour and like tell me what you do. We'll write it down. There you go. You got a rock solid policy and process. Yep.
CISO says.
Trust nothing. Verify everything. See you in the next segment. Bye.